So here we are making your first guitar lesson video. Our key concepts are memorization headspace versus playing headspace. The portion where, when you're initially putting a concept into your muscle memory, that you're going to be really myopic and focused on what you're doing and forego concepts like rhythm and so forth. The dance steps, memorization, analogy that we talked about during the lesson. It's really tempting to just try to do it in rhythm from the beginning. But again, it's like I'm going over what I'm going to be doing when I'm playing, consciously focused, and then switching to now I'm playing, which is a feel thing. Now you're dancing, having learned the dance steps. So just kind of always be asking yourself, am I memorizing or am I playing right now? And accordingly, we're going to go through, and our approach to everything is going to be to work in small sections and finish as we go. If we take Sweet Child O' Mine, the strumming pattern's the same the entire song for these three chords, so getting good at the strumming pattern just on your right hand is going to mean that your right hand's ready to go, and you'll have adequate focus to think about what your left hand is doing. So rather than having no guidance on what order to do this in, that's what's up. So the first thing to do is just pick any chord in the world, and our first rhythm was just to get used to interacting with your instrument. But first, let's talk about holding it. Your natural inclination, just like everybody else, was to have it sitting a little too far down towards the ground, and where we want it to rest is more here, up there, Not exactly perpendicular, not down here, but up there, and you can do that by tightening your strap a little bit, and you do want to sit up straight initially. When we're doing this, your work at first, that's asking so much of our arm, wrist, hand situation. It's already hard to get out in front of the instrument. So that would be even harder, just talking about why that wasn't the thing to do. Cool. So here we are, and so first, before we do anything else, a chord that would be good to use is the C chord, where we talked about how it's cool if you're in the middle of the fret. If this is like this, the same sound comes out anywhere in there as long as you don't run into this fret. So if there's this big reach here, you might as well just kind of bunch them up, make it easier on yourself. And then with your thumb, if you just make contact with the sixth string, that'll mute it. So then if you strum all the strings, you'll be getting click. No, 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 no. The way to see if a chord is ringing out successfully is make the shape push down really, really hard and pick through one string at a time. What your tendency with that chord was, just like everybody else, was to have your middle finger accidentally touch the string beneath it. It's a product of a few different things. The short version is we just need to be more out in front of the instrument than what you'd anticipated with this off to the side position, which pulls things down towards the ground. So whether we're thumb over top or classical position, we're not going to be doing this. Also, our elbow moves away from our body, so it's parallel with the instrument. At first, playing around the 5th fret feels most intuitive, and the element of this that felt like is going to be easier with your elbow moved away from your body. Cool. So there we are. Here's us fretting that chord, and just go ahead and in your practice right now, stop the video, fret the C chord, which is the second chord in the song, but we're picking it because it's got a bunch of strings in it and just one of these mute strings, and we want to hear. And right now you're at the hand, wrist, finger jam. Just play through the pain, but not for the point of injury. The good news is you're not going to injure yourself. This is just going to hurt. But it's like you are at the gym for your hand right now. There's no reason to have really worked these muscle groups before, so it's just going to hurt. You're also building up calluses. This part is not the most fun part of becoming a guitar player, but it will go away and never be that way again. I feel literally nothing when I do this because I've got the callus there and muscles and so forth. So that's just going to get easier as you go. Just like right now, it's like you have 5 pounds too many on the bar. You just go, you wake up one day, you can put it up, which is what would happen if you put 5 pounds too many on the bar, theoretically. So there we go. We're just going to boldly suck. And it's all good. This is going to get cool and fun. So right now we just kind of worked on fretting a chord. And now we're going to do what we're referring to as rhythm 1. Rhythm-wise, right arm's just slung around the instrument. A lot of this you're going to accomplish with your strap because you have a guitar with an unusual shape. What we want to avoid is being out in front of the instrument like that, which then makes it very down, 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 arm, 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 rather than a fluid thing. That's our arm and our wrist, which is what we want. So this is me moving in the fashion that we actually do. Like we were talking about during the lesson, the guitar, the way it looks implies that if I'm going to hit all 6 strings, I line the pick up here and then do that. That would mean by definition, just due to like physics and so forth, that I'd have to hit these strings a lot harder to make contact with these strings. It would sound like, you know, or if I tried to do it more lately, I'd end up not hitting the first string. So what we're going for is this thing with a wind up, where in slow motion, here's me hitting all the instrument strings rather, and then on the way back up, it's the same thing. So you're at the tip of the pick grazing the string, the golf swing analogy we talked about. This should be disappointing. It really seemed like it was going to be the other way. So just whack away at it like it's a drum. Think drum, not harp. And there will be things where we're moving in that range of motion, but right now we're getting used to strumming, which is going to be the case for lots of rhythm guitar stuff, whether we're playing power chords or bar chords or open chords or first position chords, which are the chords we're learning today, where there are fret notes as well as open notes. Cool. So now you could theoretically let go with your left hand if you want, and we're going to practice what we referred to as rhythm 1. First, totally ignoring the concept of the tempo and so forth, and just get used to strumming down, up. And I mean, it could go like 30 seconds thinking, at first we're doing the I'm just memorizing it thing, and then we're trying to make it sound, I'm just going to grab a chord so it sounds cooler. Then it's going to be just chopping wood. And our process for when we actually get through the mechanical, when we actually go to try it, is going to be first just trying to get through it once successfully, pause, reset your mental Nintendo, do it again until that becomes somewhat easy. Then we go for 2 total times through the strumming pattern, and then and only then try to loop it. There's no the way to make this easier or efficient, but that's about the best we got. So what I mean is, so now stop in your practice and just work on whacking away at the guitar. Cool. So now at about 7 minutes and a half in your video, I'm going to do rhythm 2, which is the one that actually occurs in the song, and that is down, down, up, down, up. I'm playing the C chord again, just because it's got more strings in it. It's not the first chord in the song. And that sounds like practice, now stop and work on that. And what you're doing before you play the video again is you can do that twice successfully with ease. Like it's no longer difficult to go. Initially starting with just doing it once, initially starting with fumbling through it. And reminder, we're holding the pick with our first and second finger, or thumb and forefinger rather, and if your second finger comes in there for a little added support, that's cool. So, drum not harp, rhythm occurs. The chord changes in the song actually are D, where our thumb's going to be doing that same touch the 6th string thing, then C, the one we were just doing, and then G, the one where it spreads out, and it goes back to D. So just that's going to be the order that the chords are in. And we do our strumming pattern for rhythm 2 twice per chord. So here's how it's going to sound. The way you're going to get from point A, I can't do that, to point B, I can, is like we were talking about during the lesson. First, you're just going to sit on the first chord and get good at the strumming pattern, so your right hand will be on board already. And then you're going to just spend time going D to C, D to C. Notice what your tendencies are. Like we talked about during the lesson, if you find yourself going these, then this, the goal is to do it all at once. And this should be a really boring 10 minutes or so, so just stop and do that. And then we're going to pretend that the song ends at the first chord change, meaning just trying to get to there, going straight at the first hard thing. And the good news is that we get 2 split seconds, not 1 split second. There's this concept of the open strum, where our actual last strum before we switch chords is going to be, and that'll sound like that, and that's the space where we switch chords. Great, so that's what's up, and you want to use the same process for the entire song, meaning at first you're just going to be going D up to the first strum of C, then, counterintuitively, you're going to pretend the song starts at C, learn the C to G switch, do the same process for switching from C to G, pretend the song starts at G, learn G going back to D, and fortunately, it starts and ends with the same chord. So rather than me talking through every single stage, you get what we're doing. That's the approach we're going to take to it. Your right hand's already going to be good at this when you go to do it with your left hand, and there you go. So put it together in small sections as you go. And that's how we're playing. Dum ba dum be jiggy, dum ba dum be jiggy. And just keep watching yourself for the technique stuff, but it's going to have an element of this goes right and this goes wrong. There's only so much we can consciously focus on. And that's why we're being myopic and working on small sections. Alright, you've been guitar lessoned.